That was not easy. I set up a trigger and then had to wait for no cars to pass through my trigger, cross the street, and then run back. I did it like 8 times. That was the best shot. They all sucked. Oh man. So we got some pretty big announcements from Olympus and Panasonic coming, although as soon as I make this video, they will be released, all the rumors, and it's like some bullshit cameras. I already saw that BG Cinema bullshit full frame thing box, you box freak. But I figured today we talk about who has more potential for the future, Olympus or Panasonic. I have some issues with Panasonic.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So I reluctantly bought my first mirrorless camera, a Panasonic, because it had all the features I needed. The flippy screen, good stave. I was like, I'm gonna vlog with this thing in Thailand with my 50mm lens, and it'll be great. And so I knew they couldn't autofocus, so I bought a manual focus lens to get the best manual focus. And it hurt my soul. Eventually we came to a sweet spot with the Panasonic G85 and that Leica 15mm 1.7. And you tap to focus and it just, I looked at a video, someone commented on a video I made a long time ago, and I just took a look at it and it was so cinematic looking, I couldn't believe it. Even though it wasn't sharp at all, it was just bullshit, 1080p, but I was like, wow, man, does it get better than that? Panasonic, what have you done? So Panasonic will always have a special place in my heart, but it's mostly full of bullshit because of the autofocus. At one point, I had, I think, 4 Panasonic cameras, the G85, the G9, the GH5S, and the S1. And I was sitting there in my room crying, and was like, none of these I can trust to just get me one time for one shot. And then Flat Earth Santa blessed our hearts with the little Olympus EM1 Mark III, and I did my first comparison versus the G9, and I thought the G9 looked like, the Olympus looked like trash. It was over sharpened. I think it was 1080p, both, I forget, but it wasn't looking good. But the comments, every single person said, oh, those Olympus colors, oh my god, they're so much better than Panasonic. And I was like, what are you talking about? This 10-bit over here. 10-bit Panasonic colors. But then I looked at it closer and I was like, you know what? Those skin tones, Olympus, oh my god. The greens, the lush greens. I was like, and then it turned into my favorite camera. It was like the best colors I'd ever seen once I got into 4K. Now we have a Black Pro Mist magnetic loser filter. See, it's kind of too sharp. It's over sharpened 4K. But you put a little filter on your life. I notice it creates a laser sometimes. I don't know, it bounces blue light onto my face. That's good times. Point is, even though Panasonic puts more effort into video, they have more knowledge. They have the 10-bit files, unlimited recording times, 4K 60p, like all this amazing stuff for video. But then the little Olympus with automatic settings, it just looks better. Olympus just is better. They're a better company, better people at the top and the bottom. Their janitors smell nicer. And that brings us to a very important point. We got this Olympus WOW camera coming and the Panasonic GH6, which is rumored to have some type of hybrid autofocus, probably contrast detect with black and white detect. Bullshit algorithms. But in a world of full frame, like, full frame is better. Most professionals choose full frame unless you're getting older and you want to bring less weight around with you. Then some people make the compromise to bring a micro four thirds system or even a Fuji system, and they don't want to have back pain during sex. And here lies the conundrum. Panasonic is the full frame of micro four thirds in weight. Their bodies are just as heavy as full frame. That's why they're packed with 10-bit and unlimited recording in 4K 60p. Like, it won't overheat because there's boxes of metal, copper in there. Heaviest copper cups you ever seen in that sensor. And they're good. But Olympus has stayed true to the roots. I thought that was a box. It was, but it's just surrounding a tree. I wanted to take it home. I might still. But Olympus is tiny. It weighs almost the same as the G85 did. that light, but with like 4K 60. No, it doesn't have anything even close to that. But it does something as good as the G85. It has autofocus that works. And they stay light. And Olympus lenses are super light. This 12mm Tony 2, forget about it. Panasonic doesn't have this equivalent. They have a 1.4, and it's as much as like the Sigma. Point is, if you want the best image quality, you're probably going full frame unless you want to save on the weight, which leaves Panasonic like you're not saving any weight, and you have the worst image quality. Whereas Olympus is staying true, maybe, not that EM1X, and this new WOW camera, who knows what it's going to have. It could have something light in it. But man, if Olympus stays true to their color science, and they just add some video specs and let us customize a couple things in there, Olympus leads the way. I really do wonder Panasonic's future in cameras. Like, they're already a distant, maybe 5th or 6th place of the 6 companies. Like, that's not a good look. How long are they gonna keep trying while losing money, most likely? I don't know, it's like Canon and Sony at the top, Nikon just for their nostalgia of used to being good, and people remember that they were good at one time. No longer, of course, but they might turn things around. Then you got Fuji, they have their own little cult, the color science. Oh, look at the dials. Silver retro. Put on a leather jacket, wow. Wow. It smells like a barn around here. Who has a horse? It's a city. It's just a side street. Where's your horse? Where do you keep it? I know Panasonic has some die-hard fans. It's not like they make bad cameras. They make like class-leading cameras just without autofocus. If you can manually focus, then you're okay. You'll be fine. Like, they make really good cameras, but nobody cares. They're not gonna switch a system to go into Panasonic. Who would buy lenses for a Panasonic system knowing that it can't autofocus? Come on now. You can say all you want that professional filmmakers don't use autofocus. They never would. Like, no one cares. We're not professional filmmakers. Most people buying cameras aren't professional filmmakers. We're YouTube scrubs. We're making bullshit content for ad revenue that you've already skipped. But when it comes to the GH6 versus the Olympus, if they don't even have that name anymore. They're OMD now. So it's going to be an OMD EM1 Mark IV. Wow. That's going to sell. Rolls right off the tongue. If it's an upgraded this, with just better video specs, slower slow motion, custom dials, I lean Olympus. Same autofocus. Like, it's very reliable. It better have been the whole video if it lost me once. As opposed to Panasonic's new hybrid autofocus system that nobody who knows. Like, even with Olympus sensor phase detect on a Panasonic lens, it doesn't work right. So you still have to use Olympus lenses on the GH6. And we all know that GH6 is going to weigh 750 grams minimum. And it's like, at that point, I'd rather bring the Fuji or the Sony a7S III. Missing pixels in action. Still waiting for that one. It's been like 2 weeks. That's what happens when you have a Sony camera and you need it fixed. Gone out of your life for 2 weeks. Then you move on to better things. And then once you get it back, you throw it in the trash where it belongs. Sony bitch. Panasonic's a big company. I don't see them going out of business anytime soon, but if it was based on my desires, I would never buy a Panasonic camera again. I would never make the same mistake twice. I just don't like them. If I'm vlogging, I'm usually just bringing an action cam. Sometimes I like to play around. This is very light still heavy, but it's still stable. I said still 15 times. you're going out into the world, you're hiking, you're not going to want to bring a big heavy thing, so keep it light, and Panasonic's heading in the opposite direction of that. Trying to match full frame technology with a giant flubberized Micro Four Thirds body with half the performance if it was a foot. So, I'm at a fountain. Let's get a slow-mo shot of the fountain. Yeah, that's fun. Come up with something better, dickheads. I'm gonna leave after you buy a Camera Conspiracies t-shirt. What do you think? Panasonic, they going under? Olympus, saving us all? Or will they go out of business again? The new company, wow. That better not happen. I'm gonna leave after you subscribe.